Hi, everybody. Welcome to Essential Yoga, the September edition. I'm so happy to share this. This is probably my favorite platform to teach. This is my favorite format. I love that it combines three of my favorite things, which is essential oils, yoga, and chakras. So this foundational practice is going to take us through the lower three energy centers. So we're going to talk a little bit about those as we move through the practice. And you're also going to get a chance to experience some really earthy, grounding essential oils. The practice today will be completely on the ground, so we're really going to tap into that earth energy, as well as using some of the earthier aromas, and some of the benefits of those will be to calm us. When we think about aromatherapy and how it impacts our limbic brain, which is responsible for emotions, memories, and state of arousal, when we use something like a root or a bark of a tree, we're going to get really grounded. Anything that grows close to the ground or in the ground, and that's where the oils are coming from, it gives us this emotional benefit of being incredibly calm and grounded. That's what we need when we move through this last quarter of the year. We want to be grounded, we want to be centered. So the essential oils that you're going to need today are going to be, you're going to need clove, and clove is the epitome of fall. It's spicy and warm, so that would be one that you would put into your diffuser or spray your space. You can also just take it directly from the bottle, so you would open it up. It's pretty hot when we think of essential oils. Some of them can be warm to the touch, so we want to be careful and make sure we dilute. Clove is one that is very hot. So diffusing it is great. If you're going to put it on your skin, I would recommend a carrier oil. So you can smell it directly from the bottle, and it's clove. It's spicy and it's wonderful to cook with, but it's also gives your environment an amazing aroma of leaves and trees and fall and spices and all that goes with sort of that grounding. You're going to need cassia. We'll talk a little bit about cassia when we move through the practice, but cassia is sort of a relative of cinnamon. It's a little earthier than cinnamon bark. It's not as sweet as cinnamon bark. It's probably one of my favorites, but again, a very hot essential oil, one that you're going to want to definitely use a carrier for. This one actually you're going to take internally. So have a glass of water, not a plastic cup, but either a stainless steel cup or a glass of water. And you're going to put 1 drop of cassia in, and we'll talk a little bit about cassia as we get there. You're going to need Balance blend. Balance is that blend of trees and resins and just wonderful calming flowers. It smells like you're walking through the forest. It's one that I use every single day. It's known as the grounding blend, so that's perfect for this practice. We need peppermint. Peppermint opens up our heart, and we also need that when we move through fall. We need to come into the season with a foundation of an openness, because we don't know and we don't have the certainty that maybe some of us wish we did. So peppermint, we'll talk about why it was chosen today, but it's a great one to have in your collection. You're also going to need cypress, another tree. Cypress is that circular tree that grows, and cypress is excellent for circulation and helping us to go with the flow. So while we bring in this big foundation to our lives, figure out what it is that's important to us to get grounded, we also need this willingness to kind of move through things and transition from one season into the next season. And that can be an environmental season like summer to fall, but it can also be seasons of our life. Cypress is excellent. It's one of the best pain oils as well. And then to close up the practice, you'll need vetiver. Vetiver is a root that comes from Haiti. And root, it grows deep into the muddy earth. So this smells smoky, muddy, earthy. People either love it or you don't love it, but this is an excellent choice for being grounded and calm. So those are the oils you need. I also want to throw in a little bit of my other passion, which is using crystals and gemstones. I chose these bottom 3 chakra stones. These are my favorite gemstones for grounding myself, and I rely on these a lot as I come from summer to fall. It's the hardest transition for me to take because my body tends to run really hot anyway. I tend to get a little bit anxious and a little bit over the top. I find that I don't handle stress as well as I do in other seasons of the year. So I rely on these gemstones to literally pull me back down to earth, to ground me. So this is hematite, and it's metallic and beautiful in color. It's dark, dark, dark graphite gray with a sheen when it's polished. And this one feels heavy. It is heavy in your hand. So putting this in your pocket grounds you. It reminds you to slow down, get yourself together. It's a beautiful gemstone to have. I also love like black tourmaline, obsidian, things like that. Anything that's got that weightier substance to it. And then we have carnelian. Carnelian is for the second energy center. And this is a beautiful carnelian that I have. It's just swirling with orange. And carnelian, I wear on my arm every single day. I never take this carnelian bracelet off. And this one helps us to transition. This one is great for going with the flow of life. It's great for relationships. It's great for creativity. And it's just a wonderful, a little bit lighter gemstone, but still in those lower chakras. And then this one is citrine, and this is a very common and popular gemstone. You probably have seen it before. This one is golden yellow. And this one relates to our solar plexus, the fire in our belly, our decision making, our confidence, our self-esteem, all very, very important things as part of our foundation. So if you don't have any of these gemstones, just reach out to me. I have bowls of gemstones that I just give to people. And I love to give gemstones when I give out samples. So if you need any of the essential oils that I listed for this class, just let me know. Go ahead and practice the practice. And then if you want to come back and practice it again, feel free to reach out to me and get some of those samples and these gemstones to carry you through the season. So just let me know if you need those. All right, so we're going to get started. And I want you to come to your back. And as I teach intuitively and sensation-based, I will be turning off my camera so that you can just listen to my voice. I'll guide you as when to get what oil and how to use it as we move through the practice. But it's a very gentle, grounding practice today. So you don't even need to worry about what I might be doing or the shape my body's in. I want you just to listen and get in touch with yourself here. So go ahead and get on your back, get comfortable. And I'm going to turn my camera off, and then I'll return at the end of the practice to check in and to come together in community. So the practice today, we want to begin on our backs. Preferably you're in a quiet space. You are maybe in a darkened room. Maybe it's the evening. Maybe you're outside underneath a tree. How ideal would that be? Wherever you're practicing, allow the four walls that surround you to protect this sacred time that you get to connect with who you are. If you're outside, that space around you, whether it's trees that envelop you or a fence around your backyard, just know that this time together, our practice is so sacred. Today's yoga practice and the essential oils that I've chosen are going to support you in this effort to ground yourself and deeply connect with your physical body, your emotions, and the earth. Beautiful practice lies ahead. The result of using these essential oils in this style of yoga is going to increase feelings of calm, peace, patience as we really start to root ourselves into our lives this fall. The season of summer offers us a chance to be a little lighter, to play. But it is in fall that many of us kind of hunker back in, we kind of go back inward. And so we want to think about our foundation, our home, the foundation of our spirit, returning to earth, watching as leaves begin to do their magic, come into this deep relationship to what's going on around us. So I chose clove to be dispersed into your space, whether you breathe it in from the bottle, spray it from a glass spray mister bottle, or you have it in your diffuser. Physically, clove is a very spicy, heating oil in its strong aroma. Clove is wonderful as a powerful antioxidant to keep your immune system supported and healthy. This one stimulates the mind. When we diffuse clove, it immediately signals to us the start of fall. Emotionally, clove is the oil of boundaries. So this one helps us stand up for ourselves and to make our own decisions, to become rooted in who we are. This one helps us to let go of the thought that others can have any influence on our choices. And by helping us to set those appropriate boundaries, clove gives us the courage to say no, while we have this strength to say yes to ourselves. I picked it today to start us out, to help awaken us with courage to choose the life we desire. So the lower three energy centers all have to do with the relationship to our tribe, to other people, and to ourselves. Very human-like energy here. This is where we're fully invested in how we show up in the world in a material and relationship sense. So I want you to feel your back kind of nestle into your mat, and you might start to bend your knees, but keep your feet on the mat. So we have the spine connected to the mat, the back of your skull, your pelvis on the back side, your forearms, maybe the backs of your hands, the soles of your feet. I want you to start to tap into the color red. I want you to breathe in the color red and let the color red fill up your body. Red represents our lowest energy center. And as you breathe out, just sort of allow that to leave your body like a mist. And then you'll breathe in again and let that red become darker and denser and filling up your body. And then when you exhale, just breathe it out and let it go back through your feet. So we start to pull in the energy of the earth here. These are our roots, our lower chakra. The bottom one is connected to our sense of security, knowing where we stand in life. It's our relationship to our tribe. It's our DNA, it's our race, our culture. And it's dense, and it's what magnetizes us to earth. It's what centers us. We go back home, we go back to our roots. You hear that so often. So let your body feel the density of this energy center that's located in your very base of your body, down into your feet and into your legs. So just continue to breathe the color red, feeling connected here. You may take a whiff of clove. It's in your bottle nearby. Just feel earth coming into your senses. Another spicy oil that is connected to our root chakra is cassia. Cassia is that friend of cinnamon I mentioned. It's considered hot, so we want to apply it with a carrier oil. But this is a great choice also for the immune system. Physically, it's very uplifting in its flavor. If you add it to foods and beverages, it's excellent choice for cardiovascular system health. It helps us to maintain good health and have that strong beating heart. It also helps to ward off hunger cravings. Emotionally, though, cassia is the oil of self-assurance. This powerful oil brings courage and confidence to the heart and to the soul. It's a great remedy if you're overly shy or timid. It helps you to kind of stand in your own, to be self-assured. It's anchoring for our emotions because of its earthiness. It pulls us back down like a pile of leaves, just crunching, heavy. It's earthliness. This one is wonderful for people who have a hard time speaking up for themselves. It invites you to let go of that fear and to truly shine in your authentic self, being who you are. I chose it today to take a sip internally in water to help warm us up. You will feel the warmth as you take a sip of your water and shine through the world to see. So go ahead and stay on your back here. We'll get to the cassia. I just wanted to share that with you as we start to move up the energy centers into our low belly. Go ahead and take your feet wide on the mat. Keep your knees bent And drop your knees over to the left there. And so we're starting to move up the energy ladder into the sacrum, the hips area, the low back. This is our relationships one-on-one, and that can be, it can be a partnership, a friendship, a parent and child relationship. It has to do with you and another person. And when we think about the element of water, and we're going to get to this when we move into Cyprus, but when we realize that water moves and flows, relationships should be the same. We cannot always be our way. There is some give and take, and there's some movement in relationships in order for them to maintain health and equanimity and reciprocity. And so when we move into the second energy center, we start to look at, are we flexible? Are we willing to move through some things to keep the health of the relationship strong? So Cassia helps us to be authentic in ourselves, while we also move into those sort of sacrifices that we must sometimes make to keep harmony while being our authentic self. Go ahead and lift your knees up to center and then drop them over to the right. Feel what happens when you twist the other way. Pay attention to the pelvis here. So take a few breaths here. We'll get to the Cassia to have a sip once we start to move a little bit in a different shape. But go ahead and stay on your back. And now bring your knees back up to center. And then let your feet come together with the soles closed together like a book, and then open your knees into a butterfly. So we feel immediately this openness through our pelvis, through our inner thighs. Now I want you to stay here in butterfly and start to breathe in the color orange now. Orange represents the second energy center, the second of the lower three that we're going to talk about today. And then when you breathe out, let that orange just sort of fade away from you like a mist. And then draw it in again, make it richer, that dark, sort of burnt umber orange, and let it move out of your body. So we start to play with this idea of color and elements. The first energy center is related to earth. This one is related to water. Just let it move through us. Nice. So go ahead and bring your knees up. Kind of scoot your feet closer to your cheeks and bring your arms down by your side. Just tap your heels with your fingertips. We're going to play with that energy center just a little bit in relation to the low back. There's a space in your low back that typically in this posture, with the knees up, spine flat, that's not touching the mat. So go ahead and take that space in the low back and imprint it against the floor. So the pelvis tucks, the tailbone actually starts to lift up towards the ceiling like a little scoop. And then go ahead and untuck your pelvis and come back to neutral where you have created that space. And then imprint your spine, tuck your pelvis, and then just bring your pelvis back to neutral. So it's just this tiny rocking action of your pelvis, a pelvic tuck, a pelvic release. Just take a few moments here just to get familiar with that, just to feel the fluidity that your pelvis can have. And this relates to that energy center of being willing to move and to give and to take, to release, and to work. Just that back and forth that relationships so desperately need. And then go ahead and imprint your spine. The next time you inhale, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Really push into your feet here. Remember your root chakra. Dig your feet into the mat. Push while your hips are elevated. So we have this energy of grounding into our feet, elevating the hips. We'll take just a couple more breaths here. And now take a breath in and lift your hips an inch higher. And then begin to melt your spine onto the mat. When you get to the very bottom of your spine, you'll be at your tailbone. It'll come back to neutral and you'll breathe in. We're going to roll this bridge. Breathe out and imprint your spine. Breathe in and lift your hips as high as you possibly can. Breathe out and push hard into your feet. Root chakra, it's red. Breathe in and lift an inch. Breathe out and lower, lower, and lower. Come all the way down. Be patient. Get to your tailbone. Inhale back to neutral. Imprint your spine and exhale. Inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, push into your feet. Inhale, lift an inch. Exhale, lay your spine on the mat, slow as you can. Inhale back to neutral. Exhale, imprint your spine. Inhale, hips go high. Push into your feet, exhale. Last time through, you'll lift an inch. And then lower your spine. Go ahead and draw your knees into your chest when you get there. And then roll over to your right side. Use your left hand to press yourself up to a seat. Grab your water with cassia. 1 drop of cassia in the water. Take a sip. Remember, it's warm, excellent for the immune system, preparing our body for fall. This one helps ward off those hunger cravings. It's a tasty, earthy, spicy flavor. And then grab your balance blend. Just sitting cross-legged here. Balance is that blend that you may be familiar with if you have practiced this format. This one has spruce, frankincense, blue tansy, hoe wood, blue chamomile, and some fractionated coconut oil. So it's already pre-blended, which is wonderful. The blue tansy and the blue chamomile are tiny little flowers that actually create a blue color to the oil. So as you drop it into your hands, just take note of that blue color. And then you'll rub your hands together. And I want you to breathe in. So cup your hands over your nose. This one is designed to help ground our emotions and our physical body, to keep our foundation balanced no matter what we encounter in life. So again, it's that heaviness in our root and our lower 3 energy centers. This one's harmonizing. It helps to bridge the mind and the body together. Brings a sense of calm and well-being. Should be in everyone's collection. It's wonderful to diffuse in the evening. I apply it to lotion. I put 2 drops in lotion every morning and apply it to my shoulders. And I push a little bit to remind myself to be grounded. This is the oil of grounding. So this one is really important to help us connect to our roots. This one is helpful for those who find themselves sort of drifting away in thoughts, to come back to the present. It brings tranquility, because this one helps us to stay present. It helps us to look at our goals. Think of a tree, how slow a tree grows with an incredible foundation of roots. Maybe swipe a little bit on your mustache here. And we're just going to come over to all fours. So your hands will be underneath your shoulders, knees will be underneath your hips, and the tops of the feet connect. So we have our hands, our knees, and our feet, 6 points rooted into the earth. Go ahead and push against the floor and round your spine like a cat. And tuck your chin. We're going to go really slow here. Remember, this practice will be entirely on the ground. There's never going to be a time where we stand up. We're going to stay as low to the earth as we can. And now lift your heart and reverse your spine shape, and lift your nose when you breathe. This one allows the heart to open and the belly becomes heavy and dense as it becomes pulled towards the earth. And then just find a little bit of rhythm here with your breath. You'll push into the ground and breathe out and arch your spine. And you'll breathe in and lift your heart and lift your nose. You take 3 of those, just allowing the spine to stay connected to that energy of breathing against the earth here, and letting the inhale of the earth move into your arms, and then as you breathe out into your feet and into your knees, you recycle that energy of the earth. Then go ahead and separate your knees and bring your big toes to touch. You'll sink your hips back to your heels. Notice as you do so how the belly and the heart melts down towards the earth. Extend your arms out as far as you can. Rest your forehead on the mat. If it doesn't reach the mat, try grabbing a pillow or a block or something nearby so that your forehead has contact with something. And then start to recycle that energy again. Recycle those reds, the oranges of fall, representing our root chakra, and our sacral chakra, our second. Feel your heart become heavier. So it reconnects to the foundation, to the earth. The entire month of September, I will be guiding you through identifying the foundation of your spirit. When we think of a structure, the most important part of the structure is the foundation. Our foundation of our spirit is what guides us. It's what helps us to make decisions. And decisions are made in the third chakra. The next one we'll be talking about. So our foundation is incredibly important. Our values, our core beliefs, who we are. Go ahead and rise back up to the tabletop. Maybe bring your knees back underneath your hips if they were extra wide. You're going to take your right elbow and begin to lift your right elbow up towards the sky. So we start to just turn a little bit to the right. And then maybe if your shoulders feel nice, your right fingertips will go up towards the sky. Come into this little bit of an opening through the right side. We're going to come into threaded needle. So take a breath in and then sweep your right arm underneath you, underneath the left arm, all the way over to the left side of your mat, palm face up. You're resting on your right shoulder and the right cheekbone. The hips are high here. So we're in this twisted space. We're still very much connected to the earth. Our right cheekbone, the right side of our head, our right arm, our knees, tops of our feet, our left palm, maybe out in front, is still connected. We'll take a few breaths here. And then begin to slip the right arm through that needle hole and come back to all fours. Maybe take a cat and a cow just to reset. Now start with the left elbow, just start making that rotation through the upper spine. And then maybe the left fingertips go high. Then you weave the left arm underneath the right armpit, palm face up all the way over to the right side. And rest your left cheekbone, left temple. Close your eyes. Just breathe. And then slowly slip the left arm through the needle hole. Come back to all fours. If you become impatient with the pace of a practice this slow, just encourage you to look at maybe why. We're going to start to bring our right foot to the outside of our right hand. So we're going to be on our left knee. So our hands are on the inside of our right foot. And then I want you to shimmy your left knee back just a little bit so that you're more on the top of where the quadricep meets the knee rather than the direct kneecap. And then come down to your forearms here. Your right knee is going to eventually want to open just a little bit more, allowing the hip to open. So we get into this runner's stretch, sometimes called lizard pose. So forearms are down, left knee and thigh-ish are down, top of the left foot is down. Round your spine and tuck your chin and breathe into the tightness of your hips. Remember, our hips are related to our willingness to give and to take and to be in flow. And so as we look at the foundation of our spirit, becoming grounded and rooted in who we are, what is it makes up you? Try not to get too specific with labels because labels are temporary. But what are your values? What do you hold as something that your foundation is based on? Beautiful. We'll be here just for a couple more breaths, not a long time. And then bring your hands back to the mat, so lift up off of the forearms. Take your right foot and bring it back and just take a quick cat and cow. So the spine goes up, the heart goes up, maybe a child's pose with the hips back to the heels. We'll take that same lizard or runner stretch onto the left side. So the left foot comes forward to the outside of the hands. Use your hands to help it get it there. It doesn't have to be perfect and beautiful. And then get your forearms on the mat. If they don't reach, maybe a pillow, a blanket rolled up, blocks. We want to keep our foundation. We want to keep a connection to the earth. Shimmy your right leg back just a little bit so that you're more on that attachment to the kneecap that comes from the quadricep and not directly drilling the knee down. And then tuck your chin and round your spine. We know that the foundation of any building is the densest. It is in the earth. You cannot build a house on top of the earth. It needs to be anchored in to withstand life. And so what are your anchors? What do you hold to be deep values? What is the density of who you are? Take just a couple more breaths here. Doesn't have to be long. And then bring your left foot back to all fours. And let's take child's pose again. Bring your big toes to touch. Take your knees wide. Let your heart melt back to the earth. We're going to move up into the top of the lower three energy centers. And this one is the fire in your belly. See if you can expand your belly and let it touch the earth. So this energy center represents your confidence, your self-esteem, your willingness to choose, to be solid and strong in that choice. This is your relationship with yourself. So if you remember, the root chakra is our relationship to our tribe, our culture, our race, where we come from, our DNA. The second chakra is our relationship to others, one-on-one. This one is our relationship to ourselves. It's where we really get to know who we are. And we've all experienced that gut feeling, gut instinct. So many times we don't listen to it. But this is where we need to start listening to it. It's representing part of our foundation, our inner knowing of who we are. So let your belly expand. The color is yellow and the element is fire. And then go ahead and just bring your torso up, but keep your legs folded like they are. So the hips are on the heels, knees are wide. And you're sitting tall now. Torso is long. Just going to sit here for a moment or two. It's excellent for knee health. And then go ahead and slide your body weight off of one cheek and swing your legs around in front. Go ahead and grab your peppermint essential oil. This one is so vibrant. This is a very common oil in my home. And this one helps to support a healthy respiratory function. It's immediately opening when you smell it just from the bottle. Helps us to breathe a little bit freely, which helps us in our foundations. We know who we are. We're free to be who we are. This one's also great for an occasional upset stomach, tension, headaches, fatigue. It's very bright. It's known emotionally, though, as the oil of the buoyant heart. This one really helps us to move on and avoid getting entangled in some of those difficulties of the heart. It helps us to see the big picture. So go ahead and just breathe it from the bottle. I like to apply some of it to behind my neck if I'm hot or if I'm feeling overly heated from summer. If I feel like I just can't get a break, it can help actually reduce my body temperature. And then maybe put a drop on your heart. Just rub it in a circular motion. This one helps us to open ourselves up to new experiences as we move into this new season. New experiences to add to our foundation. And then take your legs wide like a V shape. You might have to sit up on a blanket if this is uncomfortable for your hips or your low back. I like to have pillows handy, or just roll up my mat like a tube and I sit on that rolled section. This allows my hips to become higher. And that helps to reduce some of that tightness. Bring your hands behind you. Your arms will be straight, your fingertips will be away from you. I want you to lean back onto your straight arms. And then squeeze your shoulder blades together and feel how that immediately opens up your heart. Remember the buoyant heart. This one helps us to raise our vibration. It helps us to see a bigger picture and to move on, to be open. So we have a lot of earthy theme here. We also have to remember our heart must be open. You might even lean back so much that your nose goes up. Stay just for a couple of breaths, letting that cooling sensation of peppermint infuse your chest. Perfect. Go ahead and straighten your spine. Cross your legs. Easy cross-legged position for a moment. And grab your cypress. Cypress is that circular tree that's excellent for circulation. So go ahead and place a few drops on each inner ankle or calf, bottoms of the feet, that inner arch. You can be generous here. Cypress is a very gentle tree. Trees are typically used for pain, aches and pains, and also for grounding. So you can be generous here. And then go ahead and start to rub it in. Rub it into your calf muscles, your inner ankle, your instep of your feet. Cypress is an invigorating aroma. It promotes energy and vitality. And this one is a tree oil that assists us in securing our roots, sort of the core of who we are. And part of our foundation is really knowing that, as we will continue to talk about that through the entire month of September. Cypress, when we use it topically, can tone the skin by balancing fluids. It helps reduce some of that swelling that we can get in our legs at the end of the day. So feel free to keep rubbing and circulating. This one is great for the lymphatic system, the cardiovascular system. It's wonderful to promote a glowing and healthy skin tone because of its ability to keep circulating. But emotionally, cypress is the oil of motion and flow. This one creates an energetic flow by removing some of the stagnation and energy that gets stuck. Towards the end of summer, we can sometimes feel stuck, even though there's so many changes happening in many of our schedules. It's our energy that becomes stagnant, sort of the same foods, the same routine, the same this and the same that. And this one helps replace it with sort of movement, as if we're a tree rooted into the ground, but swaying in the breeze, the ability to go with what's coming. This one helps us when we feel emotionally stuck or rigid, maybe even tense. Sometimes when we have perfectionistic tendencies, just smelling this oil can work directly with the brain to help us to let go of that and to bring us into a place where we no longer need to control. but there's not fear operating. This one helps you cast aside your worries and sort of let go of control. Remember, the second energy center is letting go of the need to control, especially another person, but instead be reciprocal and give and take. This one is chosen today. I picked it today because in order to keep our mind, body, spirit at ease in the flow of our lives, we have to remember the flow that comes when we allow ourselves to be firmly rooted in our truth. There is freedom there. We don't have to strive to be someone that we're not. We know our foundation. I like to think of the 4 pillars of our foundation. What are the cornerstones that carry you through life, that keep you solid? And Cypress is a wonderful choice when it comes to remembering your inner truth and to be strong in your foundation through the flow and motion of freedom. So once you feel like you have enough Cypress moving into your body, go ahead and just find yourself on your belly with your hands stacked underneath your forehead and your forehead pressing onto those stacked hands, and get long on your mat. So you're going to immediately feel your belly against your mat, breathing. We're going to come into my favorite version of tree pose, which is on our bellies. So bend your right knee and place your right foot on the inner thigh of your left leg, and let your inner thigh come down towards the mat. So you're going to be in a tree shape, just as if you were standing, but the belly and the heart and the forehead and that inner thigh are all starting to connect to the mat, becoming very rooted here, heavy and dense, calm, grounded, earthy. And so when we have the support of our body weight, opening our hip like this, we can start to feel some opening through our pelvis, through our groin, through that low back area where we tend to hold on. And when we think symbolically of the chakras, this need to control is most likely coming from the second energy center, and that's the one that gets stuck. It's the one that causes most people difficulty in their relationships. And so the weight of our body weight, allowing the earth to do the work, the gravity of the earth, opening the hip, start to breathe deeper. We let go of the need to control. We flow through life. We have a deep sense of who we are. We are rooted in our sense of self. And so as we come into this tree pose, towards the end of this very slow and grounding practice, I'm going to come back to those colors. I want you to breathe in the color red. Just feel your body be consumed with that dense red. And then when you breathe out, let that red just fade like a mist. And then you'll breathe in orange. Fill that up into your body. And breathe it out. And now breathe in yellow, vibrant fire in your belly, knowing who you are. And breathe out yellow. And you'll repeat that one more time through red, orange, and yellow. And then when you've finished that cycle, go ahead and extend your right leg long. We'll take tree pose on the left side, but unstack your hands and stack them the other way. Rest your forehead, left foot to right thigh. And come back to those colors. Allowing yourself to feel connected to the earth here, dense and heavy. Take that cycle one more time. And go ahead and straighten your left leg. Reach over and grab your vetiver. Just roll onto your back. Go ahead and take a smell of that vetiver from the bottle, and you'll smell its smokiness and earth. It's almost like wet mud, smoky. Take a dab of the vetiver. It's very, very thick oil. It's hard to come out. And just apply it underneath your nose. And then take whatever is left on your finger and put it on your forehead and just rub it in a circle. We're going to come back to that butterfly shape. So bring the soles of your feet together. Close your eyes. Our final oil, vetiver, grounds us. It's calming, relaxing, incredibly earthy. It's perfect at the end of practice, as it is an oil that represents being centered. It grounds our emotional energies. This one is an excellent choice for anybody struggling with that monkey mind, maybe even anxious thoughts, maybe not being able to focus. This one is very dense vibration. It's very, very heavy. This one helps us to dive deep in our own self-discovery, to identify the root of maybe some of our issues, maybe some of our anxieties. This one helps us to begin to see that relief can be possible. And I chose it today to finish our practice, just to assist us in continuing this excavation, if you will, within ourselves to find that truest, deepest self of who we are, that foundation of who we are. So stay here for a few moments and just feel the heaviness of the oils as they all work together. We began the practice with clove to help strengthen us and give us courage. Cassia in our water heats us up and helps us to express our truest self. The beautiful blend of trees and resins of balance solidifies our foundation, becoming incredibly present. Very, very grounded. Peppermint, we gotta lighten it up a little bit. Peppermint's the buoyant heart. Cypress helps us to go with the flow and let go of that need to control, and to see life as a mystery and an adventure, while also knowing who we are. And then vetiver to help us, to ground us, to remember our connection. Remember, you can return to this practice, return to your oils. Anytime in the next few weeks that you start to feel that seasonal transition that could be unsettling, come back to your mat, come back to slowing down, come back to the oils that ground you. Remember, tree barks, resins, roots are going to be the oils that slow you down to ground you. Closer to the earth, we choose these essential oils. The heavier and denser, the calmer, the more tethered we feel. We use gemstones, heavier, denser gemstones, in our pocket, in our handbag, in our car door to ground us. Putting them on your bedside table, having them visible, holding them in meditation are all tools to ground you. You can stay in this butterfly with the hips open, keeping that flow in your second chakra open, or you might just melt completely onto the mat in final rest pose. It's so wonderful to share this format with you of essential oils, beautiful yoga practice, gemstones, and a journey through the lower chakras. Thank you so much for saying yes, for being in my studio with me, to have a deeper understanding of who you are. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Come out of this practice slow. Touch a tree if you ever feel a little bit unsettled, and just return to this feeling that you have in your body right now. Blessings to each of you. I'll see you soon. Namaste.